night 2 of the Great American Bash. And if you know about that, Hank and Tank were around to remind you. Listen, it's Draped and Gold, your one-stop shop for NXT content all around the world. My name is Flobo Boyce, but as always, I'm not alone. I'm being joined by the guy who just looks so suave. You see those pictures on social media, hair all slicked back, suits all fitted. Give it up for the real Jack Farmer.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Thank you for the very kind introduction.
Having you co-host. What are you talking about? It's your show.
I know. You read my notes exactly as I wanted them presented. Thank you so much, Flobo. Yeah, and again, this is the second week we are streaming live to my X account, and also I went ahead and now I'm going to Twitch. I haven't been on Twitch in a long time, so I don't know.
Have a show there one time, the meaningless debate.
I had the meaningless debates. It was a fantastic show. I think maybe if people have seen it and they're in the chat or they're listening later, let me know if I should bring it back. I thought it was a great idea. We brought up lists. I brought lists to people, and then we just debated on if the list was accurate or not. And a lot more fun than you'd imagine. Flobo, you got destroyed multiple times.
Yeah. I like how I go to the lines then of a debate show where Jack is the executioner and judge, and I lose every time. But what are the odds?
I am the Joker to your Batman in many of our show appearances, where really most of the reasons I do shows is to make your hosting life that much more difficult.
Yeah, I'm just like, blast, there's Jack again. And I always sign up. I'll be back next week. Like it's going to be different every time. It won't.
No, I got to derail a little bit. Wheel 5 Stud finally coming through the chat.
Woo!
Been a while. Wheel 5 Stud Muffin.
Stud Muffin it is. And yes, that's right. We are streaming live to Facebook, to Twitch, and duplicate X via the Real Jack Farmer X page, LinkedIn, and you can't forget about classically YouTube. And so if you have a question or comment about NXT this week or NXT in general, put it in the chat below and we'll definitely get to it. Woo. Yeah, you know, it's been a time for me, man. I mean, I've been watching a lot of wrestling on the Wrestling Inc. show, and I'm starting to feel like who is going to be my next crop of, like, you know how you have the farmers market? I'm trying to figure out who's going to be the next ones I'm going to strap the Flobito rocket to. I'm kind of torn. I mean, Odyssey Jones showed up on Monday Night Raw, but I don't know.
Well, WWE, it's crazy how hot things are in WWE right now and how well things are going for WWE. It's unless you're living under a rock. But the thing that really sets it apart for me that makes this generation different than all the others is they have a crop of people coming up that are so talented. And that in my time, and you know, I'm not a historian, but in my time of watching wrestling, I don't remember a time where the top of the card was so deep, so strong, so talented in you know, they're making money. They're good in the ring. They're good in promos. Everything that's happening is great. But at the same time, like, there's a huge crop of people who very well could knock them off the top at any given moment. And it's crazy at all levels. WWE, their talent roster is connecting. I don't see a weakness anywhere. The only problem is I feel like there's not enough time. There's so many people.
Absolutely. It's kind of like waiting for a bus. Like, hey, is that? No, that wasn't Indy Hartwell. Okay, I'll wait. Right. I'll see what's going next time she's back. But shout out to Danny Cochran in the chat right now. Let's get into the night 2 of the Great American Bash, which I'm still waiting for that Slamboree, man. I mean, Slamboree is my jam. Let's bring that back. Come on, kill it.
Yeah, Slamboree is a WCW staple.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it feels like Slamboree is such an easy branding thing too, to pair up with baseball and that time of year. I mean, that time of year, there's so many times of year you could use it. You could even use it in the fall. You could use it in the spring, summer. It really fits everywhere. So it is kind of interesting they haven't pulled that one out yet.
They should have a Southern pay-per-view every year, like in New Orleans or Alabama, and call it Slamboree, and just make it as Southern as possible.
Oh, see, I always had it, I guess maybe because the name's Slam, Grand Slam. I just always thought there was a baseball kind of vibe.
Yeah, but Americana still works, you know? Get myself a little crab oil and what's it called? Like, again, I looked it up last week. American bunting. The little doily things you see on like baseball things. I had to look it up because that's what was around the ring this week. It's kind of weird.
Well, I'm never saying no to crab oil.
Our main event here was for the NXT Tag Team Championships. It was Nathan Frazier and Axiom against MSK of the Rascalz. And, all signs were pointing to having new tag team champs. Nathan Frazier and Axiom haven't really trained. They've been doing different things. Axiom got pinned twice in the same week between WWE Speed and last week's NXT. So we all thought it was going to be, at least I did, we all thought it's going to be a new tag team champion, but just couldn't get it done. After taking the pin, Wesley went absolutely berserk by breaking up the Rascalz. Jack Farmer, let me ask you this. Is Wesley justified because he was a loser?
This is the best thing Wesley has done in years. I agree with Wesley 100%. Wesley finally did something right. He quit belly aching. He quit crying. He quit whining about his lot in life. And he decided to take matters into his own hands. You know what they say? That you become the people you hang around with. He looked around at the Rascalz and he said, I don't want to be like you losers. Wow. I want to be something better. And he finally paid back Zachary Wentz for abandoning him in NXT. Wesley, I am so proud of the move he made this week. I am so proud of who he's become. And I think Wesley is in for a great second half of 2024.
Now, listen, I understand sometimes frustration gets the best of you. I'm always frustrated when I work with you. But here's the thing. You don't have to kick your friends in the face. You can talk it out. You could have worked it out. You came back stronger next time. Why did you think you decided to make that happen last night?
Well, you're right. You don't have to kick your friend in the face. Sometimes you can kick him in the testicles like he did to Zachary Wentz. You've got options where you can kick him. And I think Wesley showed that the fact that he's able to choose between these two, berry pick, if you want to say, between kicking in the face or kicking in the berries here. Wesley, though, why now? Look, he gave his team a chance. He gave them the opportunity. And what happened? They were in the tree house, the fun house, whatever they're going to call it. And they wanted to goof around. They wanted to have laughs. They had a tag team championship opportunity the coming week, and all they wanted to do is have a little giggle fest. Wesley didn't. He wanted to win. He gave him the chance. He gave him the opportunity to take it seriously. Did they? No. Now it happens. They lost. They're losers. They're out of here. Back to TNA, probably. Wesley, though, yet again, going to be here on his own. And I think that he had to do what he did this week. And I think that what he did was the right thing. Cut the goofiness, cut the silliness, and finally focusing on who he needs to be. And that's a champion.
I got to say that Draped and Gold is an educational show, and cherries are not berries because they have a pit. There actually are stone fruit because of that. But look, I get that. I get kicking and screaming. I get trying to ask for more. But it has to be pretty embarrassing. Now, if you're Trey Miguel, if you're Zachary Wentz, can you be upset? I mean, Nathan Frazier and Axiom didn't even train for an entire week, and somehow you lost. This right here should be one of their biggest L's of all time, no?
It absolutely is, because you're right. Axiom and Frazier, they're having other matches. Talk about looking past something. The Rascalz, MSK, they had all week. They had 2 weeks to prepare. And again, they go to the tree house. They're giggling. They're laughing. They're having slumber parties. And this is what happens. And if you want to be great, especially we talk about how stacked WWE is right now. And I say WWE because it's not just NXT. It's on all levels. And it gets harder and harder the way you go. You're not going to make it if you're giggling and having fun. Look at the people who are on top right now. Do you think Gunther giggles in the treehouse?
I can imagine that.
I don't think so.
Yeah. How does Gunther even laugh? I don't even know. Just he's like, is he like, I have no idea.
I'll tell you, he laughs in a very uncomfortable way. However it sounds, it's uncomfortable and awkward. And that's why he doesn't do that. You look at the people who want to be the best. You got to be that kind of person that grabs the bulls by the horns. And that is what Wesley is doing. I'm very proud of Wesley.
Look at you turning heel. Danny Cochran says, Fire Pro Wrestling, y'all. Wow, Jack Farmer. Different during the day. Night coverage on Wink. Everything is rainbows and puppy dogs. Oh, that's kind of cute, actually. During the day, you're a heel. Kind of the opposite. Wouldn't you be a heel at night?
Dude, listen, I always go against the grain. All the other heels are at night. I like being heel during the day. It's called range, is what we call it.
Right.
But by the way, day or night, I'm a puppy fan. I love dogs.
Who doesn't love dogs except for me? They scare me. But moving
Yeah, you
on.
don't.
No, I know, because dogs are scary. And you know what it is? It's the only fear nobody ever respects. I can be afraid of clowns, and people understand that. They go, okay, yeah, I get it. Clown's creepy. I go, hey, I'm afraid of dogs. He goes, really? Are you sure?
Because
Yes.
dogs are lovable.
Yeah, okay. They're still
All
they
they
have
wanna
they have
all
claws. They
all
have
they wanna
teeth.
do all they wanna do is love you. That's why so many of the most lovable people have gravitated towards dogs, like the dog-faced gremlin, the junkyard dog,
That's not.
all of
Those are
them,
not. They're okay.
very
Junkyard
lovable
dog's
people.
lovable. Okay,
He is
fine, fine,
lovable.
fine. Okay, fine, fine. All
I
right,
was
whatever.
trying to be funny, but you're right, junkyard dog was pretty
Yeah, he's
lovable.
kind of cool. Elsewhere, Gold was also on the line with the NXT Championship as Ethan Page says this is the era of NX Me. Takes on Oro Mensah and a scoop of Mensah. The main man went as far as he could, but he came up short. Listen, Oro Mensah, flash kick was impressive, but the throw into the table was impressive. But at the end of the day, it was Ethan Page. Can anyone stop All Ego?
No. No, that's why he's the champ.
All right, moving on. Nah.
This was a tough one to watch because I like both these guys. And I got to say that Oro Mensah, to me, I'm someone who, when it comes to people getting emotional about matches, I always say that's a bad sign. When they're really heated, when they're really emotional, it typically doesn't work out. Again, we talk about things that happen on Raw and SmackDown even. CM Punk, very emotional, wasn't able to get the win.
You're a hater of Punk, though. You're a Punk hater.
Typically, this is about NXT, Flobo. Let's talk NXT.
You still hate Punk. That's a bad example. You don't hate him on Edge.
Typically, once people let their emotions get involved, it ends poorly for them. And it happened with Oro Mensah. But I will say, better than anyone else, Oro Mensah really has sort of focused that emotion and focused that energy and really brought a lot of success. I think he's not at the mountaintop yet. Obviously, he lost, but I believe Oro Mensah showed that he deserves to be a part of that top of the mountain conversation in this new era of NXT. Or NXT Me doesn't work if it's not Ethan Page saying it.
That's absolutely true. We asked about this a couple weeks ago, but Oro Mensah getting the title shot without the auspices of Noam Dar is giving me a bit of questioning, Jack. Does Metaphor still need the Scottish Supernova?
Well, of course. He's still the only one that's brought in gold to the team. He's still the only one that's been able to bring a championship to the team. So Noam Dar still should be associated with this team. I think this team still needs him. More than that, better than that, I think this team wants Noam Dar. I think they want Noam Dar around. And why wouldn't you? Noam Dar is just a delight.
That's it? I was like, okay, you're going to go in there and just wax poetic. You're just like, delight.
He's a delight. I mean, think about it. Who else makes the trip all the way from the moon to be a part of NXT? He's got the longest commute, but he never complains about it.
That's what I was waiting on. Well, I got to ask, if Ethan Page successfully defends his NXT title, who's next? Who is next?
Well, I think we have a pretty clear person who should be next to have that title shot. And I don't want to jump all over your transitions here, but
you better do it.
It's Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne deserves a title shot. Pete Dunne has earned the title shot. Who else has the resume that stands up to Pete Dunne right now? Both long-term historical career resume and recent resume. Pete Dunne got a win over Trick Williams, the former champion. I say with a bullet, he's the number one contender.
Got to give a shout out to the Samoan Watchman coming through, just asking if we're talking about Friendster. Hey, we love Friendster, but let's get into that matchup. Pete Dunne, at one time, currently, formerly, the baddest spot at NXT, had a match against Trick Willie, and still, the CWC was all behind Trick Williams, one of the hottest acts in the past 18 months. Whoop that Trick was all throughout the arena, but Jack said it best. It came up short. Trick knee did not go as far as you thought it would be. Bitter end, 1, 2, 3, clean as a whistle in the middle of the ring. Pete Dunne has been on an absolute warpath, and he's taken root on Tuesday nights.
So, I've been very critical of the way Trick Williams has handled himself since losing the championship.
Understatement.
Since becoming the champion. But I have to say, he did a phenomenal job in this matchup against Pete Dunne. But that said, Pete Dunne, talk about his history. Talk about what he's done. I'm going to make a statement here, and I know all about who Pete Dunne is. I know about his time in NXT UK and the championship reign he's had there and the main roster run he's had. I believe that this win over Trick Williams may be the biggest win in Pete Dunne's career, because the thing that has eluded him more than anything else is that NXT Championship. And beating the former champion, someone who a lot of people said, truthfully, was ushering in the new era, Trick Williams, I believe puts Pete Dunne right in track for a title shot. And I believe this Pete Dunne, where he's at now, very well could be one of the few people who can actually beat Ethan Page.
No doubt in my mind, being a former champion instantly puts you in the main event. But real quick before I move on to my next point, Kayla says, second week in a row, I made it to see it on time to see Draped in Gold.com. I love Pete. I'm no sidekick Dunn. Hi, everyone. Hey, Kayla. Thanks for rolling through. Okay, so Pete Dunne gets to win, but they fight backstage. Looks like Trick Williams is not done, though. No pun intended, I guess. And probably will have a rematch somewhere down the line. Now, if you're Ava, probably should be a general match pick'em situation. But if you're Ava, do you say, hey, look, that one match weights more because it was Great American Bash, Pete Dunne, number one contender? Or do you figure out this particular feud between Trick Williams first? It's a clear winner before making that decision.
I don't see any reason why Pete Dunne should have to wait for an opportunity. The NXT champion has taken care of business. As far as I'm concerned, the NXT champion is open for a challenger at this time. Pete Dunne on a big stage beat a big opponent, someone who I think would be considered a number one contender as a former champion. I think Pete Dunne absolutely should just go into the championship opportunity. There's no reason he should have to wait for Trick Williams. I will say, I got a big grin on my face when Trick Williams came out of nowhere and said, figure this out, Pete. That was one of my favorite moments of the night. But Pete Dunne deserves the title shot. What are we waiting for?
Hey, I always say that punches off camera will never not be funny, and I cracked up too. But is Trick Williams done though? Is this wave ended? We had a good run. I mean, it's almost been a year. No Mercy is the next PLE. We were at No Mercy last year, Jack, in the Mechanics Bank Arena in sunny Bakersfield, where Trick Williams became North American title champion for the first time. Is the wave done for the purveyor of the trick knee? Or is it the trick shot? I don't know. It changes every week.
No. Trick Williams is going to be just fine. Trick Williams is going to have a great career. I think that he's going to be at the very top. I want to say tippy top, but tiffy top is sort of monopolized that saying.
I hate it.
Trick Williams is going to be just fine. Now, he does maybe have a case of the yips right now, having lost the title, now having to find a way to get back into a groove. He was in a very good groove. I think what happens sometimes is, and you see this a lot in other sports, Trick Williams built himself and became the person who could defeat a Braun Breaker, who could defeat an Ilya Dragunov, who could defeat a Carmelo Hayes. Now he's learning what being at the top is really all about. And that once you beat those people, there's always a new crop coming right after them. You can't just say, I figured it out. You got to keep learning, keep evolving. I think he'll get there, but I think he was so ready for those three individuals that now that they're gone and he has to figure out new individuals, he's realizing that this is a game plan that you always have to be working on, and he'll get there.
Yeah. Well, if Jackson will get there, then give it up, man. I mean, it's going to be pretty bad. Hang in there, buddy.
Of predictions here.
Your team motivational poster. Jack says you can do it. No. But let's talk about people in triplicate, because Gallus had a match. Well, not Gallus in total, but Joe Coffey against Joe Hendry. After Joe Hendry had a concert, gave out flyers. Gallus didn't like that, and they decided to settle it in the ring. And well, the numbers game was not a factor because the CWC believed in Joe Hendry, and they even sang his theme song off beat and off cue, but I don't care. They love him that much. Joe Hendry gets the dub.
You say it's not a numbers game, yet then immediately go into the fact that every single person in that arena was behind Joe Hendry. That sounds exactly like a numbers game to me.
You know, every 300 of you.
I have been I've been a little hard on Joe Hendry.
A little
slow to embrace. I know a lot of
slow.
people, they hear a clap in a song and suddenly they're smitten with somebody. Takes a little bit to earn my appreciation and to earn my belief. And I can say wholeheartedly, not just because it's cool, not just because it's what everyone's saying. After this week, I believe in Joe Hendry's ability to cheat.
What?
He cheated here. Did you see what he was doing? Manipulating what the ref could see, getting Gallus thrown out when they shouldn't have been thrown out, turning the whole building against Joe Coffey. I believe that Joe Hendry is a no good Nick.
Okay. Riddle me this there, Jackery. If you had a fight with 3 people, would you want to go through some codified rules or get out there unscathed as possible? What's wrong with that?
I would not have a fight with 3 people.
You just give up? I would submit. I would submit handedly.
If I walked in a building and 3 people said, we don't want you here, I would say, I am not welcome.
What?
I would leave.
Okay, well, Joe was not going to do that. So wait, he's not wrong, man. It was no disqualification. It seemed like because there was referee's discretion all night.
Seemed like referee's discretion. You know what it seems like? It seems like the fix was in. It's easy to be someone people believe in when you cheat all the time.
Mm.
You know, it disgusts me. Joe Coffey, truly the salt of the earth, the working man's man, someone who really stands up for everybody. That's someone to believe in. Joe Coffey, family, friendship.
That is awful. I can't believe you're saying this. You're totally off the rocker.
I believe in Joe Coffey. That's who I believe in.
If you're listening to this in the chat right now, Jack has lost his mind. He has absolutely lost his mind because Joe Hendry is a hero. The crowd was all for him. CWC was singing his song. Joe Gallus has been beating people up backstage as well. They got their comeuppance, man. Come up pants.
Joe Hendry, he cheated, he manipulated, he lied. I mean, let's face it, he lied. And by the way, Vic Joseph, you helped perpetrate that lie by spreading it to the people watching. I see you. I hear you, Vic Joseph. The only person with any morals and ethics is Booker T, calling things how he sees it with Joe Hendry.
I think Booker T's upset that Joe Hendry made a song about him. He's a little biased, just a little.
Well, I think using his copyright without his approval is what we're all scared of. And Joe Hendry did it. And no repercussions there.
This is okay. We gotta move on. This brings us to this week's general manager pick'em. I gotta ask this question before Jack gets so mad and leaves the show. General manager pick'em is where to ask my broadcast colleagues questions as if he is the general manager of NXT. Jackery, here's the deal. Great American Bash has been an NXT television staple over the past couple of years as a special television presentation over 2 weeks, but it's now time to freshen up the calendar. Would you keep things the way they are? Would you make Great American Bash a single television event? Would you make it a PLE next year, or would you kind of swap it out for something else entirely?
I am a big fan of the Great American Bash. As a WCW fan, it is something that has been a part of my summers for a very long time. I think it should be closer to the 4th of July. I think we need to put it near the 4th of July. It could be the week before, the week after. It feels like here in August, the American vibe has sort of subsided a little bit. You know, we were all
sorry, that's a quote for a t-shirt. The American vibe has subsided. Vote for me, y'all.
Jack Farmer 2024.
Oh man. Yikes.
But I feel like we were into it July 4th. Like that's when we're feeling patriotic. That's when we're feeling that barbecue vibe. That's when we should be doing
but it was the Olympics.
American Bash.
It was Olympics.
Well, I mean, we're winning championships, so we're winning golds over there. Some of them, anyways.
Yeah.
The ones we care about.
Right.
And if we did care about them beforehand and we didn't win gold, we no longer care about those.
It's so true about us. We're awful.
It doesn't matter what it is. Like we're like basketball's the best. If we don't win the gold, we're like, yeah, that shouldn't even be an Olympic sport. Come on,
it's like it's preseason for us. Yeah, that's it. Doesn't really count.
We're the sorest sports, America.
USA.
Like soccer, it's the world's game. Yeah, we don't play that.
Yeah,
here.
I don't play that. It's fine. So let's talk about the Great American Bash as well, because backstage, unfortunately, I thought it'd be kind of weird to have a backstage party backstage, not in the parking lot. Hank and Tank were having a cookout, but it was a cook-in, and it was
you would have a gathering in the NXT parking lot.
Heck yeah, there's hot dogs involved.
You're a brave man.
Do you really want to have a cookout inside? That sounds weird, man. That's like church basement after service.
Have you seen the NXT parking lot?
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, yeah, let's have our barbecue in the middle of a war zone. Sounds like a good idea.
I bet the hot dog will taste even better if you can make it there unscathed.
I don't think that's a big if. You're gonna be wearing that hot dog if it's in the parking lot.
Anyway, my point is a lot of shenanigans happening backstage. 2 questions: Hank and Tank as hosts, what you think about it, and 2, anything from that whole party that you thought was pretty cool.
I think that those 2 were great hosts. They were fun. I'd love to party with those guys. I'd like to go to a barbecue with those guys. Thought it was a blast. I think the biggest news was Jada Parker making it clear that she wants to be the NXT champion. And I think Roxanne Perez should start putting some roadblocks up now because Jada Parker is coming. But something rubbed me the wrong way in this whole
something
thing.
rubbed the wrong way? You get rubbed the wrong way all the time.
This was a little.
I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't mean like
that. Lex is king. He's up there. He's mixing. He's playing classics, stuff that just fits right into the Americana of a barbecue at a Great American Bash. And no one wanted to listen to the music that made America. You know, they didn't want to listen to the stuff that really should be played. Instead, they wanted to listen to the beat bop EDM music. And I'm a big Eddie Thorpe fan, but I feel like as a DJ, we got to say, Eddie, the point of DJing is you're trying to mix different styles together. You can't say no to that kind of music and be a DJ. You got to embrace it, Eddie. You got to play both. I want to see these guys be an act together. Bring music together.
I'm sorry. If I'm going to a break room cookout inside by the staging area and they're playing dad rock, I'm getting upset.
Very specific scenario.
Yeah, I know. It happens all the time. It's like when your boss says, we're going to have a fun day, and just pizza in the break room. Hate it. No, Lexus King is awful at music. It's dad rock, old man stuff. No one likes it. Shout out to old men out there, by the way.
I mean, that Nirvana shirt. We had the Guns N' Roses. We got some White Snake.
That's Poison.
Got some Skid Row.
Jeez.
There's a Van Halen.
We are losing ratings as you saying all these band names. guys, we have LA Guns and Hollywood Rose.
Listen, if there isn't a 3-minute guitar solo at some point in the song, what's the point?
I hate it.
I've always said that's why people like Drake aren't as successful. They don't have 3-minute guitar solos.
That's why Drake's unsuccessful?
I think that's really what slowed him down recently is the lack of 3-minute guitar solos. I think, I look around and if Taylor Swift really wants to become a star, 4-minute guitar solo, electric guitar solo, not any of this acoustic stuff, a 4-minute Taylor Swift electric guitar solo. That's what music needs.
I like in defending Lexus King, you became more and more of a dad as it went on. You kids, all your chords, you don't know actual progressions.
My back is hurting right now.
Let's talk about this match I had. Heritage Cup implications. Ren Sinclair wants to be North Quarter Catch Crew, which is kind of weird because I thought she was already in it because she had blackmailed them. But Tony D'Angelo walks over and sweetens the deal. If Ren Sinclair can take down Kendall Gray, Tony D'Angelo, will give Charlie Dempsey a Heritage Cup title opportunity. And Ren Sinclair got it done. So with the dub, Ren is now part of the North Quarter Catch Crew, and Charlie Dempsey is now the #1 contender for the Heritage Cup.
I've said before, Ren Sinclair brings an energy to this group. She brings a fire to this group. I think this is the best thing that could have happened. I don't know why Charlie Dempsey, well, I do know why Charlie Dempsey doesn't want this to happen. I do know why he's hesitant, because Dempsey has become the de facto leader of the group. Mm-hmm. And I think he knows that once Ren Sinclair gets in there, people are going to start listening to Ren, not so much to Dempsey, and with good reason. Again, you notice every time she's involved, success seems to happen. I think Tony D'Angelo made a mistake, I think, in getting involved in this and putting that championship on the line. If this was a couple weeks ago, I'd say Dempsey stands no chance. But with Ren Sinclair in his corner, Dempsey might just get the win here.
I have a hot take, and I know I'm jumping around here, but look, if you're watching this, we know you jump around a lot. Tony D'Angelo, in promoting his match, cut off Obafemi, the ruler, by talking about his next opponent for the North American title. Does Obafemi get involved in the Heritage Cup match next week?
For the sake of everyone involved outside of Obafemi, I hope not. Because Obafemi is the Galactus of NXT. He's just he's gonna eat your world, man. Don't just stay away. Just stay away. In fact, you know what? You know who I would like to see? You know who deserves a shot? And all of you, I think, based on what the chat is saying, should agree with me. I think the next person that should step into the ring with Obafemi is Joe Hendry in a no DQ match.
You want him
where
dead,
anything
don't
can happen.
You want him dead.
Ladders, chairs. Joe Hendry, you want to be part of NXT? Get in there with Obafemi.
That match would slap, but I think you're doing it for nefarious purposes. This is why you're at the GM.
Obafemi would slap Joe Hendry around. That's what would happen.
You're an evil GM. Just say it. You just hate your talent. Just put it out there.
Okay, let's ask the chat. We'll ask the chat. We'll ask everyone who's watching on whatever different piece of media you're using. Would you like to see Joe Hendry versus Obafemi for the North American title? Let's just put it out there.
That's a loaded question, because the answer is yes, but you want to do it so you can see Joe Hendry get slapped around, which is evil.
TNA could stand for totally North American champion.
That doesn't even line up.
Totally North American.
Okay.
Great American Bash.
All right, just real quick. Ren Sinclair's finisher looked like a hybrid between the blunt force trauma from LA Knight and the rose plant from Bailey. Would you change, or are you fine with that?
I mean, she won, so it'd be a weird time to change. But I think it may grow on me. Right now, I prefer the blunt force trauma.
Dope. And Carly Bright and Kendall Gray, would you keep them together as a tag team, or have them do this separate solo thing they're doing right now?
I think there is room in the tag team division for the women's division. So I would say stay as a tag team, because there's your opportunity. The singles division is looking very tough. And so I don't know if I would see a whole lot of success individually right away.
Can we talk about Javon Evans having a whole thing about Lord Tensai? Talk about the most random thing I thought this week was going to happen. Javon Evans like, yo, man, that Matt Bloom, he's a hero of mine. Like, that's pretty cool.
It was kind of interesting. If you said, Jack, Javon Evans is going to give an interview and he's going to talk about a former wrestler, guess which one it is? I would guess for 1,000 years before I got to Lord Tensai.
Not Prince Albert, not A-Train. No. Arguably his worst. I would guess. I don't know if I would ever discover. Seriously, like, we would be here forever. And by the way, even if I pulled up a list of all names so I could go through it, I'd probably get to Lord Tensai and go, well, it's not him. And skip over it. He was team like for 4 months, and that was it. Like, it was back and gone.
It was like that. So that was quite a surprise. This concerned me, though. This is 2 weeks in a row we've had interviews with Javon Evans, and it's what happens when you're a young, talented superstar. And Javon Evans is a young, talented superstar. You get caught up in the fame. You get
What
caught up
fame?
in the flashing lights. You get caught up in the glory. And instead of having matches, here he is doing interviews, talking about himself. Very early Justin Bieber here, I see with this, where instead of trying to be the best at what he is, he's too worried about doing interviews, too worried about being in the spotlight. Javon Evans, I'm worried here. I want to see you doing the work, not just accepting the praise.
That is not even his. You could totally tell it was him going out to the indoor cookout, and they're like, "Hey, man, you have work, you have interview work." And he's like, "Okay, I'm bouncy though," and he looked like he was sheepish about it. Hey, man, cut that out. I don't want him to know. Like, it didn't look he was in the fame. It looked like he had to just to do it to do it.
I think he wanted to cut out because he realized, oh my gosh, he's going to realize that instead of putting the work in, I'm just chattering. I'm just talking. I'm just yapping. And instead of hitting the ropes, doing like a no quarter catch crew, just working hard. That's where he should be right now. Again, I'm going to compare him. Justin Bieber, just, now he's going to be he's very Lindsay Lohan right now.
Whoa. Justin Bieber, I understood, but Lindsay Lohan, come on.
I mean, I just worry that this guy is going to be he's going to be partying. He's not going to be taking it seriously. This is where he needs to start working, not get caught up in TMZ like he is now.
I got a dumb question for you because I actually don't think I've ever asked you this. Do you, as youth Jack, have any pictures with wrestlers at all, or do you were not about that life?
I don't really have any pictures with wrestlers. I wish I did, though. In fact, even as a adult, I get the opportunity to work with a lot of wrestlers, and I never take photos, and I don't know why. I just kind of slips my mind, but I wish I did, and I always tell myself I will more. So, advice to anybody: if you can, get photos.
Yeah. Well, I had a personal issue. That's why I don't really usually take photos with wrestlers. But yeah. I know that a lot of people who are fans always have one or two who are like, oh my God, it's me with Stone Cold or me with Cody Rhodes or whatever.
Yeah, I wish I did. I don't know why. And again, I get the opportunity to work with wrestlers, and I don't know why. I really wish I did. So I always tell myself next time I'm going to, and then I don't. And then I'm leaving the event and I kick myself.
Yeah, but you see, you say this now, but I got a feeling like someone would like uncover you with like Mortis somewhere, like online at the grocery store, like, hey, what's up?
It'll be at the line of the grocery store, and Chris Kanyon will be in normal clothes, and I'll be dressed like Mortis,
right?
Like super accurate,
like youth Jack and Mortis, not even Champagne Chris Kanyon, but just
Champagne Chris Kanyon. Chris Kanyon doing the DDP ripoff was so much better than it had any right to be, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, rest in peace, man. But when he was on, he was on. It was like, that was one of the cool things about Lake Pier WCW that I would be like,
yeah. He would
CCK.
He would literally just diamond cut people out of nowhere. It would just be like, it would be like people working, though. It wouldn't even be like wrestlers.
If you guys ever seen Champion Chris, he walked around with DDP's book, which was a good way to promote it.
Yeah.
and just like diamond cut people out of nowhere. And I was like, as a kid, I was like, I have to read his book. Maybe I can do that to my police,
He always wore those like silk shirts or whatever they were, but then they were like 100 sizes too big too. It was a weird time, but while wearing tights underneath. So it was just a weird look. But
shout out to Small Watchman. Hire a photographer and you will force yourself to go for that photo. I'll tell you this real quick because we're kind of light on time or heavy on time. Well, I'm not sure we have time. Anyway, because I was a kid, I don't really take photos with wrestlers. During Comic-Con one year, my friend was like, hey, look, there's a pre-man, Becky Lynch and Xavier Woods doing a signing. Do you want to go out there and go with me? And I went and I took a picture with them. I was squatting down. It was great. But it was the same day I saw Rocket League being played. So if it wasn't for that signing, I wouldn't be a big Rocket League junkie that I am. So there is a photo of me hanging with Xavier Woods and Becky Lynch, but I too don't take many photos. But speaking of photos, what's wrong with your boy Rich Holland, man? Just taking opportunities, like how people take photos. That's transition. Getting himself a tag team match, pushing out Duke Hudson. Chase U is going to have a tag team opportunity next week.
Well, Rich isn't the one taking. Andre Chase is. You see that new classroom they have provided by Ridge Holland?
How?
By the way, it was JC Jane that saved them before. What does Chase U do? They collect this tuition all year. And then what is Chase using the funds on? Certainly not providing better education, because everyone else seems to be providing all of that.
Okay, I'm with you, because Chase U seems like the most sketchiest school ever. But what is Ridge's deal, right? He changed the school colors. He's doing these tight opportunities. Is it still working? I still feel like I'm waiting for another shoe to drop with this guy.
Oh, I don't trust Ridge at all. Of course. I mean, come on.
Well, there you have it.
I mean, not even that he'll do something like intentionally bad, but he'll bring evidence to the crime scene again, or do something very obvious. I mean, he's the worst kind of person to have in a heist right now. No, I don't trust him. Something's absolutely going to go wrong for somebody here. But I'm going to be excited to see it, because Chase U has been taking advantage of students for far too long, Flobo. These for-profit schools are just a drain on the American youth, the American education system, and I hope they get what's coming to them. Chase using everybody.
The American vibe is winding down. Jack Farmer does that more. Just takes that education. All right, let's talk about our last match here. This one here is for the women's North American title. Kanani Jordan had her biggest test, and I think her second defense overall, this time against Tatum Paxley. And even though the match wasn't the cleanest, Kanani Jordan gets the dub. But it was the appearance of Wendy Chu afterward that has me going, because I thought for some strange reason that Wendy Chu and Tatum Paxley were in some sort of alliance, but that doesn't seem to be the case anymore. Walk me through this one here, Jack Farmer.
You know, this is where people like you need to apologize to Tatum Paxley. This is
sorry, Tatum. Next.
A lot of the people who have been watching this and giggling owe Tatum Paxley an apology. First off, Kanani Jordan, big fan of her as a performer, big fan of her as a champion, but not a big fan of her attitude as of late. You saw, even during this matchup, for no reason, Jordan literally grabbed Tatum Paxley's collectible and just threw it meanly for no reason. This didn't help her win the match. It wasn't doing anything to stop her from being the champion. She's making this thing personal. It was a very championship match. This should be very cordial, very competitive, very Olympic thing. And
Olympic.
You know, Kanani Jordan, she made a mess of this. And Wendy Chu is what happens when you normalize bullying, Flobo.
What?
Wendy Chu saw the way Kanani Jordan treated Tatum Paxley over and over again. She saw that everyone seemed to get behind it, and it empowered her. And Wendy Chu started to think, oh, I guess it's okay to pick on Tatum Paxley because she's a little different. And I think that people like you, who always normalized it and empowered it for weeks in and weeks out, is what makes people like Wendy Chu, hopefully no one else, do this kind of stuff. It's disgusting, Flobo.
What you mean by empowering? You just made up all this willy-nilly thing about Kanani Jordan hating Tatum Paxley for existing, when actually having small dolls and bringing them to work unannounced is kind of creepy, man. No one asked to bring your toys to work. Do you bring toys to work when you DJ these clubs? That's what I'm saying. People said, hey, look, that's great. We love your hobbies. Don't bring them to work. And somehow you think that's bullying. But now Kanani Jordan has not one, but two potential opponents.
Nobody said don't bring your collectibles to work. Maybe she was showing them to people. Maybe she was showing them to the ring crew, because the ring crew was very interested. And that's why she just, hey, I'll store it under the ring until the show is over. That way it's in a safe place. She didn't know that Kanani Jordan was going to go, where's the collectible? Rah, and throw it. I mean,
so what are you saying? You're saying that Kanani should be ashamed that she won her match?
I think Kanani should apologize for what she did to show the world that it's not okay to bully people for having a hobby. And I think that she needs to speak directly to Wendy Chu and let Wendy Chu know that it's not right to bully someone for having a fairly harmless, fairly popular hobby of collecting collectibles.
You can collect collectibles on your own time, but you bring them to work and put it in my personal space and my workbench, give or take. That's going to be a problem.
It's not her workbench. It's not her workspace. It was under the ring.
Does she not work near that ring?
She doesn't work under it. Why should?
weapons go under ring. No, weapons go under ring. Trash cans, kendo sticks. Why is that? Why are collectibles, if they're so valuable, what are they doing over there?
There is no reason a wrestler should be looking under the ring in the middle of a match. Kanani Jordan, and by the way, Tatum Paxley did nothing to make her feel like she needed to go under there. She just knew. She probably saw her put it under there and wanted to make a point, wanted to bully Tatum Paxley a little bit more. Tatum Paxley, I want you to know, I think it's okay to have a hobby. I think it's okay to have collectibles. And I think it's very cool that not only are you collecting, which again, I mean, there's podcasts about figures. There's big conventions of people who like to collect figures. You know, my friend, Andy Rossi, sent me this NSYNC Funko Pop of Lance Bass so that I could have an entire collectible of NSYNC.
Okay, not knocking it, but why did he send it to you? I don't understand. Are you a fan?
Because I don't know why. I just I got it back here. You could see it.
I don't know why I got one.
I don't know. I don't know how I became an NSYNC. He said to me, I've got Chris Kirkpatrick back here already.
I mean, you have to now. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know why. But the point is, like, I got this gift. Like, is Kanani Jordan gonna grab it and throw it and make fun of me publicly? Listen,
she probably will now after how you drag her name through the mud.
Tatum Paxley, it's okay to have collectibles. It's okay, and you should not feel like it's okay for people to bully you.
Okay, that aside, because there's no arguing with you. It looked like Wendy True attacked Tatum Paxley as well. Now, if you're Tatum Paxley, you're having a really bad day, right? Who do you go after first for your revenge?
I think you go to Ava and say that I will not work in an environment where you empower bullies.
Okay. You mean NXT, the one with the evil parking lot? That one.
Oh, yeah, there's nothing you can do about the parking lot.
Yeah. But the collectibles.
Now, if I will say, if her collectibles were in the parking lot, I would say, what do you want to do? There's nothing that we would agree on. If your collectibles get destroyed in the parking lot, nothing you can do.
That is advice for life. Now time for my favorite segment of the show. It's the MVP of NXT. Let's have the MVP of NXT. That person, tag team, or staff member that stuck out for you the most this week, Jack. Let me know.
I think we're probably going to agree on this one. I think this is a very this one stands out. And in the chat, let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments. Clearly, I think the MVP this week is Lord Tensai. I mean, come on. This is the biggest moment Lord Tensai has had in a decade. I'm sure that the searches for Lord Tensai probably spiked. You know, videos, people checking them out on social media. I think this had to be, if you look at percentage of growth, Lord Tensai's by far grew more than anybody else. Lord Tensai MVP this week.
I can't even argue. Lord Tensai it is, man. Yeah, sorry, Pete Dunn. it's all Lord Tensai. Wow, that you hit the nail on the head. Who was your MVP of NXT? Let us know in the comments below.
I mean, look, Pete Dunn's like his numbers probably grew like let's say 25%. Lord Tensai probably grew 20,000% from what the searches were before this. Lord Tensai, he's on the map now.
It's a fever dream for people from a certain age. It's like, no, I think there was a Lord Tensai. But
I feel like I remember an action figure of Lord Tensai better than I remember Lord Tensai.
Oh, his action figures were dope, but he wasn't. That was the thing. I held the grudge because he stopped Yoshitatsu's run, his overrun. So I'm like, oh, Lord Tensai. So when Javon's like, yeah, I'm bouncy, but Lord Tensai, I'm like, wait a minute. He was a guy.
Lord, that was. Yeah, I'm losing it here. That was probably outside of maybe figure this out. Yeah. Maybe one of the more shocking, like,
what? Really? I mean, good on you, bro, but okay.
And this is a guy that thinks the greatest of all time is Lance Storm. And I was like, Lord Tensai.
Someone watch it. Javon Evans said that his inspiration as a kid was not A-Train, not Giant Bernard, not Albert. It was Lord Tensai was what got him into wrestling, or one of his mentors. I thought that was kind of interesting. So
yeah, and he talked about it for a while. It wasn't Like, you could tell they didn't just say this name as a fun. Like, he talked about him for a bit. Like, he definitely enjoys Lord Tensai, which is it's just random. It's not even a shot against Lord Tensai. It's just
because it was like literally 3 or 4 months and it was over. Like, and now I'm gonna be Lord Tensai for Halloween. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
yeah. It was like saying Kizarni was my favorite. Like
ube,
like
Kizarni.
Kizarni. Oh, him? Like, was he
SmackDown had some people, man. Remember Deuce and Domino? All right, let's get out of here. Draped to Go, as always, giving you the best of NXT content. I could not do it with my broadcast colleague, Jack Farmer. If someone wanted to work with you, book you, all that cool stuff, how'd they go about doing that?
You can follow me at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. I'm going to be covering AEW Dynamite tonight on Wrestling Inc. That you can find me there, usually doing Wrestling Inc. stuff. But again, follow me at Real Jack Farmer. Always got new things brewing, and I post it all there.
As for me, no one really cares about me, but I have a blog. It's called justtthesandwich.com, justtthesandwich.com. And if you're a Mets fan, I am on the Mets Digest YouTube page, so you can see me talk about baseball during the spring. I don't really have a hockey outlet for the winter, but we'll figure that out. We'll be back either next week or the week after. Haven't figured that out yet myself. And I'll let you guys know. Make sure you follow me at X at Flobo Boyce to know updates about Draped in Gold. But until the next time we see each other again, my friend, please say the words.
Do your best and be yourself.